Week 1 of the NFL season is in the books, and we are on to week 2 already. We're hitting the meat of the schedule. Time flies, it stops for no one. Coming up, we got the Thursday night preview on the Statement Games Thursday night show. Welcome in to the Statement Games Thursday night preview show. I'm Joel Worth, joined by the founder of Statement Games, Marc Salino. Marc, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Not too bad. I think my Sunday probably went a lot better than yours did, but I'm doing well. Looking forward, very excited for the game tomorrow night. Looking forward to it. Before we get into it, let's talk about Statement Games itself. I'm going to bring up.
Yeah, sure. While you kind of pull it up here, and we actually just spoke about this a little bit offline, and given some of the news that's kind of taking place within our country, I wanted to kind of make one comment, and I understand that this is supposed to be fun. We're talking about football. I'm not necessarily going to be getting in anything from a political perspective, but when you take a look at the events that had recently taken place in North Carolina with the Ukrainian immigrant who migrated over to here into the United States, and as we record this, the recent news just broke out about the Charlie Kirk death / assassination, and we'll probably touch base on this in a little bit, and where I'll start complaining about the Giants, and I'm sure you kind of have your gripes and things like that, but from a leadership perspective, I felt a little remiss if I didn't make the comment on how we're pretty fortunate and blessed, and how hopefully we'll have another opportunity to watch another football Sunday. And I just wanted to make the comment that maybe all of us should just take a step back and understand that maybe some of the things that we think are so important, like our sports teams, at the end of the day, we're all blessed to kind of be here, and we should be extremely thankful for the opportunities that we get and the joy that sports bring us. That's my rant for tonight. I didn't want to be a downer, but I definitely want to get that off my chest a little bit.
One of the hardest things about living somewhere where I'm far away from my son is, these are the kind of days and these are the kind of events that make you want to hug your kids. And it's tough when they're not around, but you're absolutely right. It's there's bigger things in football, but man,
I didn't want to bring you down.
No, not at all. It's just you did not bring me down. Let me say that. It's just
okay.
Yeah, there's, like you said, hug your kids.
Yeah,
kiss
your wife,
blessings
hug
you
your
have,
girlfriend, your kids.
Let's
tell
all
your parents love them, and
let's find a way to figure out what makes us more alike than we are different.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, so we got some cool upgrades at the Statement Games on the site, on the platform. So I'm going to go into the game for the contest for tomorrow night. We do have, as promised, defensive stats that you can pick this week. So that should be fun, especially as a Packers fan for a team that, for the first time I can remember, almost has a really good defense. So looking forward to some of those numbers. We've kind of, you can see we've got no Will Grier stats or no Malik Willis stats this week.
Those are some of the little things that you'll start to see improve as we progress here. So last week, if you did become part of the demo community, you would have noticed that sometimes in certain games we would have published quarterback statements on a second string quarterback, or maybe some players that really had no effect on the outcome of the sporting event that you were kind of playing. Didn't necessarily like the end user experience that we were giving people by not populating the defensive category with a bunch of blank picks or no options. So again, we're still in full-fledged demo mode. These are some of the quirks that we are just ironing out, all in an effort to bring this platform back up to a respectable level.
Yeah, so this is, like you said, this is a demo. We are in demo mode, like you said. So we encourage everyone, go to demo.statementgames.com, sign up for an account, and participate in these contests. See, we want you to break it for us, right? We want you to get in there, fool around, make some picks, see what you like, see what you don't like, and we're happy to know what you like. But if there's something you really don't like, or something that could be improved, feel free to reach out and get a hold of us.
Absolutely. So, and I'll just mention this now. I'm sure we'll mention this at the end of the show as well. Any feedback, good or bad, is more than welcome. My email address is pretty simple. It's simply marketing@statementgames.com. Or I always do my best to keep my DMs open on X, and my X handle is @Marc. Make sure you spell my name with a C. That's almost like my biggest pet peeve. It's @Marc Solino. So it's MarcSaulino.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, reach out to Marc, reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is on the screen there. So before we get into this week, I can feed everything right over to I can feed everything to Marc until he gets his Twitter on his on his title screen there. So do we want to look over and see what we did last week? We both got one of our two picks correct. So obviously last week was the Eagles and Cowboys. Kind of a weird game. Both teams, you had the spitting disqualification for Jalen Carter, and then neither team could stop or the other team could stop the other offense until the fumble just right after the second half, and then you had the lightning game, and then neither team scored. So things got a little funky in that game. You said Eagles will not win by over 6.5. That was correct. They won by 4. So the cover was right. That you got that one. And then you had CeeDee Lamb under 72.5. That was not right because he had 110 even with the 4 drops.
Hey, listen, this was our first show that we've kind of done in a while. I'm just happy. I mean, it would have been real embarrassing if you went 0 for 2, So at least.
Yeah, I'm glad we both got one right.
Yeah, we at least kind of got one. I would say as we move forward, maybe we'll even get a little bit bolder and make 3 or 4 picks as opposed to 2. But I think as of right now, we're good with what we're doing, and I'm gonna kind of like build this back into like a little bit of a baseball equation where tie goes to the runner, 1-1.
There you
go. That's not going to the sports book. That's a victory in my book.
Exactly. In this format, it is for sure.
Correct.
I had Devonta Smith over a 56 receiving yards. That was hard wrong. He had 16 total. That was not good. Cowboys played very much against the tendency I expected. They played very heavy zone, almost no man-to-man coverage, and I thought Devonta Smith would be able to kind of take advantage of the man coverage, and that did not happen at all. But I did get Saquon Barkley under 93.5 rushing yards. He only had 60, so yeah, a lot of Jalen Hurts took a lot of that away. But that one, again, I'm happy to get one of 2. Didn't want to go 0 for 2 on the opener for this one. All right, so let's move on.
About the Giants, or do that later?
Go right ahead. Since we're going to talk about the Washington Commanders, they played the Giants week 1. Looked, I didn't see the whole game, but man, that offensive line looks rough.
It's frustrating on all levels. It's just like one of those things in where you get so excited and you anticipate like the start of the NFL season, and then almost like for the 3rd year in a row, you can't even score a touchdown on opening day. Can't stop the run. Can't defend. I don't care if it's Jason Witten or just pick a tight end. They can never stop a tight end. Offensive line looks like absolute garbage. Quarterback play, same particular issues. Doesn't look competent. Hard to blame them, especially when you have no pressure. But then also at the end of the day, I come from a little bit more of a background in where you don't respect Washington. So you think maybe because your team is that bad, that's the only reason why Washington won. But maybe it's time to start looking at Washington in a little bit of a different light. I mean, this game did win double-digit games kind of last year. They appeared in the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
They looked the particular part, although it was against the Giants kind of in week 1. So I'm still kind of on that fence a little bit, and where it's hard for me to think of Washington in a positive light. But then again, maybe it's time that we all start respecting this team and what they're capable of doing on the football field, as opposed to looking at them as if they were a doormat from 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, so obviously some fantasy advice there from Marc. If you've got tight ends, you want to start them against the Giants.
Correct. It doesn't matter.
So
Just yeah.
good tip right there. And then yeah, I mean they'll get Andrew Thomas back at some point, right? So I mean things are bound to get better. It can't be as bad as it was on like every time I did see them quite a bit on Red Zone, and like every time it went to a Giants highlight or offensive highlight, it was just Russell Wilson getting sacked. So I don't know that switching to Jackson Dart's going to actually make a difference if
You're gonna get the guy
shore
killed.
up that offensive line. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know that the quarterback really made a difference there. So, all right, let's move on to week 2. It's already week 2, man. Unbelievable. The Washington Commanders are visiting Lambeau Field and my beloved Green Bay Packers. Packers look really good on Sunday.
They did.
They did look very good. It's a very encouraging start to a very promising season. Marc, let's get your first pick for week 2.
You know what? Again, I'm still a little torn because it's Washington, and it's like, all right, did the Giants not play that well, or was Washington like that good? But then I actually saw something that kind of stuck out at me, which was Jordan Love has not actually hit the over in passing yards in his last 6 games. So I don't think the Washington defense is that good. But then again, I'm always a believer in not necessarily picking against the trend until the trend kind of proves you're wrong. So for my first pick, I'm actually looking at Jordan Love under 232 passing yards. And I'm going to lock that one in. And the thought process is that basically that, maybe Green Bay gets up. They understand that Washington has a big play offensive capability. They want to keep Daniels off the field as much as possible. So they rely a little bit more on the run game. And as a result, Jordan Love has a good game. But if I'm taking a look at the passing yards total, it falls in the 220 to 230 kind of range, which would put it at the under.
Yeah, so if you're on the platform, you can go to quarterback here, get the quarterback stats, and we're going to scroll down, get Jordan Love under 232, and we will select that, put it onto the statement for the week. I don't think that's a bad pick, even though I'm a Packer fan. Like he had 188 last week, and they put up 27 points. So
yeah.
Like you said, they can win without him having elite passing numbers. So, and I do think that they are the kind of team that's going to want to play keep away.
Does that sound right though? His last 6 games, the passing yards total.
I'd have to think back, but it wouldn't surprise me. I know the Bears game last year, he missed half the game, so that's probably why he was probably very under. Vikings game, they really struggled. Yeah, that's probably accurate.
I don't want him to get hurt through the air in this game here. I just don't want him to go over 232.
Yeah, no, I think that is not a team that's going to kind of like this isn't the 1984 Miami Dolphins. They're not going to win with Dan Marino throwing for 300 yards every game. That's not how they want to play. That's not how they're going to win. So, no, I think that's a perfectly reasonable pick. My first pick, I'm going to go Jayden Daniels. I'm going to stay with the quarterback. I'm going to say longest pass under 38 yards. Now, yes, he obviously is explosive. He's got a big arm. He's got big play potential. I don't think he necessarily has the deep threat receivers. You got Terry McLaurin coming off the hold out, hold in. Don't know that he's up to speed yet. Deebo Samuel is not really a deep threat. And if you go back to last week, Jared Goff isn't the downfield thrower that Jayden Daniels is, but his longest completion was 32 yards. I think his second longest was 19. And then he had 2 11-yard completions. This is a defense that wants to keep everything in front of them. let that pass rush get home, and then just play a bunch of. They're one of the zone heaviest teams in the league. So that again, they're just going to want to keep everything in front of them. So I'm going with Jayden Daniels' longest pass under 38 yards.
Very good. Well, I do think Green Bay is going to win the game. I think it's a tough spot for Washington, but then again, as I was saying before, if Washington pulls this one out, I think I have to elevate them and start thinking about them in a different light. But if I'm looking at the Green Bay run game as being a factor in this game, and I don't think Jordan Love is going to pass for over 232 yards, I think this number is extremely kind of outflated. I'm going to go over into the defensive category.
Okay.
I'm looking at Green Bay not being that reliant on the passing game. And if that's the case, this Washington over 3.5 sacks number is completely inflated to me. So I'm going to take Washington under 3.5 sacks. So without further ado, we finally go ahead and get the defensive category on Statement Games fixed.
There we go.
And I'm jumping right into the category because I'm pretty excited. I haven't made a defensive pick on this platform in quite a while, and I can't be, well, I'd be remiss not to jump into that category, highlight the future a little bit, and do something to the effect of picking against the Commanders.
I like it. Yeah, they. I think this number is probably a little bit overinflated by, again, we talked about how badly the Giants struggled to protect Russell Wilson last week.
This is not the Giants' offensive line, and I think what our algorithm kind of does. I mean, listen, you're utilizing AI, we're utilizing screen scraping technology, and then we're also utilizing predictive data from some of the bigger data providers in the industry. And since the model only has 1 week of data to go off of,
sure,
I think that number is an inflation of what they saw in week 1, which it will start to even itself out. But what's a flaw with the predictive model kind of engine, I'm going to utilize to my advantage and take that inflated number and take the under.
Absolutely, 100%. Every edge you get, you should take advantage of. So, and yeah, like these numbers, they can only, if you're basing on 1 week of data, that's not a very big sample size. So, yeah, if you see something that's exploitable, go ahead and get in there and make that pick. I'm going to trust what my eyes showed me last week. And that is, this is a very good Green Bay Packers football team. They boat raced a very good Detroit team. That's a team that is going to be a contender for not only the North Division, but one of the best teams in the NFC, one of the best teams in the league. And the Packers just ran them out of the building last week. So I'm going to take Green Bay to win by over 3.5 points. This is no disrespect to Washington, but this is a very good team.
Yeah,
you got Micah Parsons.
I'm not going to mind.
You got Micah Parsons. This is a crowd that's going to be fired up. It's a short week game, a short week road game for the Commanders. That's always tough, man. I think last year, the road team was like 6-11 or something like that in Thursday night games, something to that effect. It's a tough environment, right? You think about it, you basically get no practice. You get a couple walkthroughs. You play on Sunday, you get a couple walkthroughs, and then you got to fly halfway across the country. So very tough spot for the Commanders. Tough spot for a young quarterback. I remember last year they played a Thursday night game against Philadelphia, maybe week 10, something like that. And Commanders really struggled for probably the better part of 3 quarters and then kind of made a little bit of a comeback in the fourth quarter. But I think this Green Bay Packer team is legit. I think they are very good. I think they are one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league. Personally, I think they're the best team in the league right now. So I'm going to say they are going to win by over 3.5 points.
I can't knock it.
Well, good. I'm glad I'm not going to face too much.
It must be nice to watch like a competitive, fun football team. It must be real nice. But
it is fun. This team has been competitive, basically
about the Giants. So I'm not going to fire all my bullets in week 2.
I will say I'm old enough to remember this team being very, very bad for a very long time. In the last 30 years, they've been very good and very competitive. They have not had elite defenses very much. It's been a quarterback-driven team. So it's kind of fun to see a team that maybe like legitimately one of the best handful of defenses in the league. It's kind of exciting. Little. It's maybe not the sexy way. It's maybe not the explosive way to win football games, but it's just as fun to win. It's just as fun to win 20-10 as it is 33-30.
I wouldn't know, but
and then getting back to your bet, it's like when you said Jordan Love under 232. Yeah, that's because they're not. It's not that they can't be explosive. They don't necessarily need to be explosive. They want to control the game. They want to play. They want to run Josh Jacobs a lot. They want to run. They got a road grading offensive line. We'll see. They did have some injuries this week, so we'll see. Zach Tom is questionable. Aaron Banks is questionable, so a little bit nicked up early. But I still think they're going to be able to get the job done against the Commanders. All right, so that's it for this week. That's our preview of the Washington at Green Bay Thursday night game for week 2. Marc, you got anything else before we sign off?
No, I think that's a good place to leave it. Hopefully, I'm going to have some additional updates for next week's kind of show. I don't want to set anything into motion right now, just because if I say it, it's almost like I'm jinxing it. So let me make sure it actually happens first, and we'll kind of cover it on the next show.
Awesome. Yeah, we are. We'll be here every week to preview the Thursday game, and we'll show you the improvements that we're making. We'll show you. We'll bring up any suggestions that people have and what we can do to improve the game and improve the demo and improve the beta test as we go. But so check us out. We'll be here every week on Statement Games, previewing the Thursday night game. That's it for Green Bay, Washington, and we'll see you next week for week 3.